back when we could do that, or college fairs, or many other events that we've had in the past, or at the very least, probably communicating with many of you by email or phone. And yes, we're so excited for you all to be starting up with us this fall semester. And we have a great program lined up for you today. So we're going to start off with introductions of our faculty, staff, and students that are with us here today, so you know who all we have. So we'll start it off with the department chair of the Music Entertainment Industry Studies Department, or MEIS, as you'll all get to know it for short, and that is Dr. Richard Strasser.
Hi everyone, I'm Richard Strasser. As Dave mentioned, I'm the chair of the department, and I teach in the music business area. So for some of you, you may get me right at the beginning. I teach the Intro to Music Business class, and then you probably see me right at the end. I'm taking over the Music Analysis class, which is a senior level class. So you get me at both poles of your education.
Great, thank you, Richard. And then we're going to jump to a person that you will also get to know very well very soon if you haven't already got to know her, and that is Christy Chambers, who is the program manager for the Music Entertainment Industry Studies Department and is an alum of the program as well. So here's Cece.
Yes, hello everybody, welcome, welcome. We're so excited to have you as part of our MEIS family now. So I'll very much look forward to meeting all of your faces and not just the names in the little square boxes here very soon. My name is Christy Chambers. I go by Cece. I'm better known as Cece. I'm the program manager currently. And what that means is I kind of handle all of the day-to-day administrative duties for the department under, of course, Richard and his direction, and with the help of our very talented student employees, one of which you'll meet here soon, Erica. So I am in the main MEIS office when we are on campus 288. We are there to help you all with anything you need. So the office does typically end up being kind of that spot that you can come to for if you have questions, you can reach out to me. If you just kind of need help finding something, we're kind of that stopping point of anything you need, we're here to help you. I also help with all of the class scheduling and applied lesson assignments. So we'll get to that a little later, but as you get into needing to request applied lesson teachers, I'll be the one that you work with for all of those needs. Later in this, I will include my contact information in the chat box. So if any of you go away and have questions or just want to pick my brain about the music industry in Denver, certainly feel free to email me. As well as the program manager, I am a fellow alum. So I went through the program and graduated with a music business degree in 2006. I went on to work in the business for a long time, and I'm still currently a working singer in the Denver music scene. So I kind of check all of those boxes of what you all are here for, and I greatly believe in this department, and I'm very excited for you all to really explore and grow within our program as well. So welcome, welcome, welcome to MEIS.
Yay, thank you so much, Cece. All right, next up, another person that you're all gonna want to know a lot, if you haven't already met him. Scott Burgess is the manager of our recording studios, and he also teaches some courses in live sound. One of the features of CU Denver is that we do have 6 amazing recording studios that our students get to use a lot. So he is a good person to get to know. So I'll pass it over to Scott.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I'm Scott Burgess, officially titled Manager of Recording Labs and Live Sound. And I will answer a question that I know right off the bat is on everybody's mind, which is we're working pretty hard to figure out how the studios are going to operate safely and healthfully in the fall, and a lot of that's still getting worked out, but we're going to figure it out, and our priority is to maximize the amount of time that the students are going to be able to use them and to do so safely. So like Cece, I'm also active out in the industry. I'm the chief audio engineer at the Aspen Music Festival in the summers, in normal summers anyway. And yeah, and we'll talk more about the studios a little later on in the hour. So it's good to meet you all in this way and look forward to seeing you in person.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Scott. Next up, we will go to Kelly Rapling, who is our summer programs and recruitment coordinator. If any of you, I know some of you attended the Links camps in the past, and or probably saw Kelly out helping out with a lot of our recruitment events as well. So Kelly.
Hi, everyone. Yep, I work with Dave on the recruitment team. My name's Kelly Rappling, and my main role for the college is running our Links National Arts and Media camps, which we're actually having our music industry camp happening right now. We've got about 30 students hanging out with some of our college students that are their TAs, and they're playing Two Truths and a Lie. So they're having a lot of fun on that Zoom. I love all the different Zooms that are happening, but great to have you all here. Thanks for joining.
Wonderful. And then let's bounce back to Alice, who started off our meeting, so she can tell you about what she does, all the important things that she does for the college on the marketing and communication side.
I realized I forgot to actually introduce myself when I started. I'm Alice Krogan, and I am the Director of Marketing Communications, and I work really closely with the departments and the university on recruitment, and then also in the communications role, kind of amplifying all the amazing things that our students and faculty are doing when they're here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alice. And then we'll go to Karen Hunter-Bird, who is the director of our advising office, another very important person for students to get to know.
Hi, everybody. I'm Karen Hunter. As Dave said, I'm the director of the academic advising office. So once Dave and Kelly safely escort you through the doors of CAM, it's my office that lovingly takes you into our arms and helps you get all the way to graduation, where we throw you out of the nest. I'm kidding. But we are here to help you track your academic progress as you go. We're also here to act as your advocate on campus and to help translate a lot of the policies and gobbledygook that feels like universities tend to have if you don't speak that language, but we speak it pretty well. And we can also act as your information booth on campus. So if you have questions about something and you think, well, I don't think that's an advising question, but I don't even know where to start here, because we always know who to ask. So if you have any questions, for those of you who are first-year students or transfer students, questions about what classes to take, what order, all of that kind of thing, my office is here. But even if you have questions about study abroad or all of those things, you're like, I just don't know where to go, start with my office, because we will be more than happy to point you in the right direction. And I just put my email in the chat box, so hit me up anytime. I'm not going anywhere. Welcome. We're so thrilled to have you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Karen. Are there any other faculty or staff on here that I missed other than Dean Kaptain, who you all will get to hear from in just a minute? All right. In that case, let's introduce our two MEIS students that we have with us this afternoon. We're so thankful for them both volunteering their time to want to come share a little about their experience with you. So we'll start off with Alana Marjolis.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alana. I'm going into my final semester here in the MEIS department. I'm a singer-songwriter and music business double major.
Okay, thank you, Alana. And then we have Erica Harrington.
Hey everybody, my name's Erica. I am also going into my final semester. I'll be graduating in December. I'll be graduating from the music business program. And I also work in the MEIS office. So just kind of like your front desk administrative stuff. So also feel free to reach out to our front desk, and I'll probably be the one who will respond with hopefully some helpful answers to questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Erica. And you'll get to hear from Erica and Alana a little bit more later on. Talking about their experience in the program and giving you some words of advice as incoming students, things that would be good for you to know. Right now, though, we are going to go to our leader in the College of Arts and Media, Dean Laurence Kaptain, or Larry, as we all affectionately know him as. But Dean Kaptain has been the Dean of the College of Arts and Media for about 6 years now. And he has been many other places in the university or in the higher ed universe, leading up music and arts programs such as Louisiana State, UMKC, Shenandoah. That's always a tough one. Conservatory, but he is really a leader in the arts world, the music and the arts world nationally, and we're so lucky to have him as our dean. One thing I personally love about Dean Kaptain and working with him is he's super student focused, and he's always thinking about how can we make the college better for the students. He's not a leader that gets really stuck in the mud and this is the way we've always done things, this is the way we should keep doing it. He's very innovative and always looking for how we can improve, how we can make things better. And it's just so nice of an environment for all of us to be in, because this is a area that's changing so fast, right? The arts world. So enough for me. Here is Dean Kaptain.
Oh, thanks a lot, Dave. Well, you know, my job as dean, I see as it being on a horizontal plane, not a list of things. And that horizontal plane, you know, is trying to be the intellectual, creative leader of the College of Arts and Media, but also being a fanboy of our student groups, such as Sister Neapolitan there. Alana's pictured there on the left. And really, I tell you, one of the things I enjoy the most is going to performances or lectures or events that feature our students and our faculty. I have such a sense of pride of working with a faculty who's very accomplished, a professional staff that's seasoned and terrific, and students who have very high aspirations and really push themselves very hard. This is a real exciting time to be entering the Music and Entertainment Industry Studies Department. In fact, all of our artists, things have really changed a lot. And in education before the year 2000, or a 20th century education, just won't cut it anymore. We really pride ourselves on being 21st century. And let me just give you a couple examples of that. It used to be that students would be asked or be told to be very focused, to be very narrow in one area of specialization. Now, being a generalist, working across areas is almost more desirable. It used to be, you know, work by yourself. Now it's collaborate with others. The arts world used to be on the periphery of the economy. Now it's at the core. The arts in Colorado have passed mining and transportation in terms of capitalization. Employment used to be precarious. Now self-directed entrepreneurism will take you many places. So we're here for you, and we're going to give you a lot of opportunities. The learning has to be, though, on you, new students coming in, okay? That's your responsibility, and we're going to be here for you and provide you with all kinds of different opportunities. Let me just leave you with my 4 things that I would like you to think about. Make sure that every day you're advancing your communication skills. That's very important. That's the first thing. Second thing is make sure the professors know you, and that's your responsibility. Make sure you ask questions. Make sure you bring attention to yourself in a positive way. Third thing is be social. Start forming your networks tonight. After we sign off, I think Dave's going to stay on and you get to meet each other. Start forming your networks. And the last thing is go international. The College of Arts and Media has been a leader in study abroad 2 to 3 week programs, but your class may be the first one to have the opportunity to do a semester abroad, okay? We're looking at possibly the fall of 22 or the spring of 23, and we'll be sending some information out about that. So that's another one of the special touches of CAM is the international experience. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for trusting us with your children, parents, students. We are there for you, and so you're always going to value your experiences and your connections you've had with the College of Arts and Media and our wonderful Department of Music and Entertainment Industry Studies. Thank you all.
Thanks so much, Dean Kaptain. Now we'll go to the person I know you're all very anxious to hear from, Dr. Richard Strasser, the Department Chair of MEIS, who is going to talk to you a little bit more about the MEIS programs, updates, all that kind of stuff, and then get into a little bit about the question I know that is on everyone's mind: what is the fall semester going to look like? So here is Dr. Strasser.
All right, thanks, David. So let me start out by saying that you're coming in at a time which is very exciting for the department. We have just reimagined our recording arts program, the non-audition track, and now the music business program. So those of you who are in the music business on audition and the recording arts on audition, you're coming into a new program that's really, as Dean Kaptain was saying, 21st century. There are a lot more electives. We're looking at broadening our selection of courses in the music business area and in the recording arts area. And we're focusing primarily on those skill sets. For those of you in the audition tracks and the performance and the singer-songwriter, we're always tweaking our programs. So as you go through the program, as you start to learn, we're always looking for that input from you to improve our program, to always make it cutting edge. As Dave mentioned, as the chair, I have the role of being on the return to campus committee for the university. I'm the member of the teaching and learning. There will be classes. As for the music department, we are always striving to provide the best education possible to our students. But at the same time, we have to be very cognizant that we are living in a pandemic still. So the safety of our faculty, the safety of our staff and our students is paramount. We are working with the institution on developing some of the methods to distribute education. So you may have seen some of the emails that have been possibly going out, and on our CAM website, there's a lot of really good information about the delivery systems. So essentially we have 4 delivery systems that you'll be utilizing. First of all is what we call remote. Remote learning is online learning, but we like to think of it as more of a virtual online class. You meet at your normal times with your teacher. So if you have a class at 9:30 on a Monday, you will log on at 9:30 and be working with that teacher live in that environment. Then we have what we call the hybrid model. Now, the hybrid model is where you'll be coming onto campus, and part of it will be delivered on campus, and part of the education will be delivered online. So we can, reduce the size of the classes and provide those classes that need to be on campus the opportunity to be on campus. Then we move to full on-campus classes. And what we discovered in the springtime when we were online is that some courses really did work in the on-campus. So ensembles will be delivered on campus. The institution has a return to campus policy that very much follows CDC guidelines and the Colorado Department of Health guidelines. Again, the institution as well as the college and the department are very cognizant of health. So there are guidelines that I think you'll be able to get later on. Alice or Dave can give you directions to those websites on how that happens. So we're looking at having ensembles. Some of your applied lessons will be on campus. If there's any percussionists in the room, we're looking at developing on-campus courses because it's very important that we're able to do those things. And finally, it's what we have is asynchronous online courses. Most of the applied lessons will be online, and you'll determine the time with your faculty member of when you have those classes. So please note that this is for the upcoming semester, and as things develop and move on, we'll be adjusting accordingly. But we do hope that in spring we're back to full on-campus an environment. And again, please feel free to contact myself either through my email, and I'll put that up on the chat group, or through Cece, who just put her email information, and we can answer any specific questions to you. But we are very much looking forward to having you on campus and helping you get through your education.
Richard, one thing that I think, since we have a lot of out-of-state students here, if there was a student who is an incoming student that was thinking maybe this fall semester I could do it all from home and do either remote or online classes, would that be an option for them?
Yeah, we're looking at that at the moment. I mean, some classes we found really worked in the sort of on-campus hybrid model. If we get into situations where people say they need to be, remote, we'll look at those case by case and start making some of the decisions based upon that. This is where I think students will work with their advisors and work directly with us to identify those who really feel they need to stay in their home state. And in those cases, we may start to shift some of the co-requisites and change some of the requisites for students to accommodate them. It may mean that to keep on target for the 4-year graduation, we may need to open up some summer classes and some other things where you can sort of catch up and be able to get to where you want to get to. We really want to work with you as much as we possibly can, and we're trying to be as flexible as possible, given the circumstances that I think we're all facing.
Great, thank you. I know that's probably very helpful to people. So what I'm hearing is that they could do that. There might just be some class limitations where they would take something else in place of something that would normally they may have taken.
Yeah, we're going to look into those possibilities, and we'll see what we can do as we go on. So we're really working as hard as we possibly can, given the circumstances.
Great, thank you. And then I saw that we do have some questions I know about housing on campus, and we're going to get to that a little bit later. We'll make sure to answer your questions about all of that. Next, we're going to go to Christy Chambers, who is going to talk a little bit more about some of our wonderful faculty in the music department, and also talk to you a little bit about applied lessons. And that would just be for our audition track students.
Yes, hi again. Well, gosh, I could say so many great things about our faculty. Many of them are colleagues at work during the day, and many of them are colleagues in the music industry by night as well. You'll find this very common theme with us, is that pretty much all of us, faculty and staff included, are also working industry professionals. So really top to bottom, our faculty and our staff, myself included, we practice what we preach. We are all working in the industry. Many of our faculty, own and run companies. They gig at night, play in bands, collaborate with different multimedia, opportunities with different artists. We have, gosh, I couldn't ever start, I wouldn't have time to name all of the names, but some examples would be like Andy Guerrero, who is also, he's an alum of the program. He played in the Flowbots. You may recognize that song, Handlebars was one of his hits. He is now a teacher in our program. He teaches pop rock ensemble, very fitting for who he is. David Bondalevich, we have a Hollywood film guy who, goes back and forth and does sound for Hollywood movies. Lauren Bregitzer has worked with just about every hip hop artist, in studio. Storm Glore runs Music Cities and is well connected on every level in the music industry, and also does our internships. So you really, by coming in to our program with our amazing faculty, all being industry professionals, what you get is this just additional huge benefit and perk of a built-in network. You walk right into very connected industry professionals who really can help connect you then and open other doors. And I think it was Dean Kaptain who mentioned it's very important to get to know the faculty and make sure that they know you as well. Erica and our Alana, our students, could attest to that, really getting to know the faculty can open doors for you. And opportunities and introductions and stuff like that. It really does just create a built-in network and mentorship. So I could go on all day about our amazing faculty, but you'll get to know them as you come into the program. In the applied lesson world, and it kind of a bridge from faculty, because you will be requesting faculty when you request applied lessons. Applied lessons are the one-on-one private instruction music lessons that are required for all of our students on some level-ish, but really this is going to be important for all of the students who are audition track based. So audition track, whether you're recording arts or music business, performance, and singer-songwriter, you will be required to take a certain amount of private lessons throughout your career as a student here. You will have to request, and there's no guarantees, but you can request a faculty member. So going back to how many amazing industry professionals we have on our roster, if you ever have a question of like who would be a great fit, or, you know, this is kind of my style, or this is how I like to sing, or this is what I want to learn, you could always come to me or into the office and get some advice on who would be a great request. Happy to help you there. But with Applied Lessons, what you'll do, and I'll include the link in the chat here so that you can go to more information. You can also email me for more information. But what you'll do is you have to go to an online form, and you'll fill out the online form, and it just asks some basic questions. How many semesters have you studied? What's your instrument? And who would you like to study with? And then I go one by one down the list, and I will personally assign your instructor, and then you'll work out the day and time for your lessons directly with your instructor. In this unique time right now, as Richard mentioned, there's going to be some different options for Applied Lessons. Many will be remote. If you're a percussion student, we have online options. There's going to be ways to work around your needs as a student coming in. So rest assured, we'll make sure that you get what you need and you have the resources to be successful there. So I will include that link. You can email for more information, and I would just mention, very, very important to check your CU Denver emails. Erica, I see her nodding there. We send out tons and tons of communication, and all of it is directly through CU Denver emails. We don't send it to the personal emails. I would also encourage all of you to like us on Facebook and Instagram. We have all the social media. Once you have your account set up, we also send out a newsletter. In the summer, it's monthly. During semesters, it's weekly, but we really will keep you well informed, but you do have to check your emails. So we'll send out more information about Applied Lessons to the emails. In the meantime, feel free to contact me, and just friendly note, the application deadline is July 12th to get in your requests. And then from there, we'll process them in the order in which they were received. So hopefully that was informative, but and any other administrative questions, I can't drive it home enough. I'm your girl. So if you have any questions about anything, feel free to just come to me. If I don't know the answer, I probably know who does. So I posted my email address there in the chat for you. Thanks.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Cece. And just a reminder, the Applied Lessons are just for audition track students. So if you're non-audition track, don't worry about it. All right. So moving on to Scott Burgess, who is going to talk to you a little bit about our music facilities.
So I'm going to bring up a slideshow since I don't get to show you all around. That should be coming through. So, excuse me. The recording core is what we call our studios, and it's been around since the program began in the mid-70s, and this is an actual shot. Well, these are all actual shots from our studios, and I'm working on updates even this summer to one of them, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So we're there to supplement what you're learning in classes and give you a chance to get actual hands-on experience, and you can see some of the numbers about what's available there. And my office is right there in the middle of things, and so I'm able to try to keep a good handle on what's going on, and also get to know you all as well. We're open once we get going, and again, as Richard has mentioned, we've got we're figuring out how we're going to do this safely and smartly and smoothly. I'm in contact with a lot of my colleagues in the industry, how they're doing their studios, how they're doing their schools. I chaired a panel on that at the Audio Engineering Society conference online a couple weeks ago. So we're working on this, and we'll figure it out the best way that we possibly can. You're able to reserve time depending on what classes that you're in, and we've got a lot of great equipment to use there. Vital to this effort is my student crew, recording core monitors, and I will tell you, I've always got my eyes open to see who the students are who are in the studios all the time, who are always helping others anyway, who are really eager learners, and I hire them, as many of them as I can, and they're super vital. Even this summer, I've got a good handful of them working on projects at home, all sorts of different things that we've come up with that need to be done and can be done remotely. A little bit about me. I've been here around a little over 7 years now, and have been a number of places all over the country prior to that. Again, my office is right there in the middle of the studios. I tell people, if the door's open, come on in. I'm always open for questions. In these virtual times, I'm also always open for email questions, and have even gotten on a Zoom chat with some incoming students to answer some things here and there. So let me show you a couple of the rooms. Studio H is one of the 2 rooms that are also classrooms. It's centered around this SSL console that was put in let's see, the spring of 2013. A bunch of top flight outboard gear there, and some rather sizable loudspeakers. And here's some of our students are working on a project. This isn't just a stage shot. There's our actual. I walked in and said, "Hey, you mind if I take a picture while you guys are mixing this track?" Right across the hall from that, Studio J was completely rebuilt summer before last, I believe. No, it was last summer. Oh my goodness, that was. It's been a long time since last summer. And that's a 2-track kind of a mastering analog room, a lot of top flight gear in there. Right through the window, you see Studio G, which has a substantial keyboard collection. I've actually lost count of how many keyboards we've got in there. And these are available for you to use when you check out the room. And the piano, Steinway piano, kept in top condition. Just off the frame in that picture is our Hammond organ, which is a key sound in any rock and roll or jazz or blues or all sorts of things. Again, available for you to use. Around the corner, Studio F is one of our surround sound spaces, 7.1 in this case, and you can see also Bonnie over here doing some sound effects, Foley sound effects in the room. We've got pits with gravel, and she's walking on some analog tape, which sounds like grass when you record it. So there's a pro tip right there. And Jess is showing the mixing position there in 7.1. Right across the hall from that, Studios D at E, which is where that first picture came from. D is also, it's a 5.0 surround room, and with a small booth attached to that. Then you got to go across the sidewalk to Studio King Center 146, which is the other classroom. And this is, well, at the moment it's a 7.1 room. By the time classes roll around, it would be 7.1.4. So we're expanding that to an immersive space. And this is designed to be, if you master this room and you walk into a post facility in LA, it's going to look real familiar, because that's what this is modeled after. I asked David Bondalevich, professor of post-production, what should we do to make this look as pro as possible, just the way that you work on it there? And he said, this is what you need, and that's what we got. And then upstairs from that is one of the rooms that's up and coming. King Center 216D is also a 5.1 surround room, so I believe that makes 4 surround studios, which is a pretty good amount. And our digital instrument ensemble meets up there as well. And for those of you that are in the electronic digital instrument program as your major instrument, you'll be working in this room as well. And just a few other things that we have. All of our studios are connected with Dante internet or networked audio, so that we can connect them to each other and use them in a whole bunch of flexible ways, which is going to be really key to making this fall work, among other things. Arts 278 is a black box theater that we took over a couple of years ago. I teach live sound in there. We also have an immersive audio setup that we can set up in there and do a lot of clever things. Some student recitals have happened in there. We work in the concert and recital halls. And then one of my favorite little projects, the Entertainment Industry Collection, is a historical collection that we acquired in 2017 and have been adding to ever since. And I think the oldest thing we have there dates back to 1854, if I remember correctly. And we include things including some original documentation from the recording sessions for Fantasia, the Disney movie back in 1938. I am a fellow student. I'm a master's student in history as part of this project. So whatever your interests are to be involved in all of this, we can find a place to plug in. And that is pretty much it.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Scott. We also have a lot of other facilities, practice rooms, of course, our King Center, performance rooms, the concert hall, recital hall, another recording studio over there. I think Scott might have mentioned that one, but all sorts of good spaces for our students. So some of which we'll be able to certainly use this semester, but hopefully when we're back functioning normal, they'll all be ready for everyone to use again. So next we're going to go to our two MEIS students that we have with us to hear a little bit about the student experience in MEIS. And also, if either of you have any kind of words of wisdom that you think it'd be important for incoming students to the program to know, I'm sure they would love to hear those as well. So we'll start off with, we'll go Erica to start off, and then Alana will go after that.
Cool, thanks, Dave. Hi again, everybody. I guess my journey at CU has been a long time coming. I've been like on and off again for a long time just due to like life circumstances, but it's actually really worked out in my favor because we've just had such massive growth in the program over the past few years. So it actually really worked out for me to be graduating in December. So the music business program has been like one of the most exceptional opportunities for me. I would definitely like to second, I think it was Dean Kaptain I said before, talk to your instructors. Like, it seems really, I don't know, it's like one of those obvious advice things, but it's just like, I didn't realize that, actually engaging in a different way than like I was used to in other classes in the past, actually talking and asking about their personal experiences and like asking for advice or just their opinions on certain things. Like, I took a heavy metal class last semester and just learning about the history of heavy metal and being able to have kind of like email exchanges with an instructor who I can just be like, hey, I'm thinking about working with this client who's in this kind of heavy metal band. And like, what do you think of this track? Do you think they're like worth my time? Being able to have interactions like that with people who are really currently involved is like a really big deal. Not to mention there's new opportunities all the time. I mean, being just consistently engaged, which is hard sometimes, you know what I mean? Like we're definitely all human, but talk with your instructors, show that you're there voluntarily, that you want to learn, that you want to hear about it. I was asked to be in this really cool kind of like 5-person project class with Andy Guerrero this semester or last semester because of that, because he was like, you're always doing well on your tests, or you're really engaged, you ask really good questions, I can tell you really care about music business. Do you want to work on this project class as an elective? And that kind of got me actually in the door with a local organization called Youth on Record, which very likely could actually be a job opportunity for me after this semester. So being engaged in these classes like will directly, doesn't always feel like it, but eventually, those relationships really do enrich you as a person. So I'm really, really happy that all of you guys are here. This is an exceptional college. I left the state and moved back specifically just to go finish my degree at this college, because there's no other program I've been involved in that even comes close to it. So congrats and welcome everybody.
Thanks so much, Erica. All right, Alana.
Hi, everyone, again. But yeah, my sentiments exactly, Erica. You spoke it very eloquently. It's been such a wild and crazy 4.5 years for me. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, so I moved about 1,500 miles to come here, and I don't regret it at all. It's been absolutely incredible. The professors are amazing. Like Dean Kaptain said earlier, I'm in a band, and I wouldn't have been able to be in such a great band with my best friends if it wasn't for this college. And because of that, and because of all the opportunities, I've been able to perform at South by Southwest and at NAMM and just be on the radio this past month, which has been incredible. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without any of the connections that I got at the College of Arts and Media and with MEIS. And so I would just say that, same with Erica, just talk to your professors and talk to the people around you. No question is a dumb question. Every question, be as curious as you possibly want, and just ask away. Erica and I'm going to put her on the spot too, but like, we're always open for any questions that you guys have. We've experienced it all pretty much. And I know this is a really hard time and a weird time to be entering into college. So we feel for you and we're here for you. And remember that your professors are there to help you succeed and do as much as you possibly can. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Alana. Next, lots of good advice there. So students, incoming students, I definitely encourage you to listen to them and also connect with them both this fall semester. So next we are going to go to Karen Hunter-Bird, who is our Director of Advising. And she's going to talk a little bit about what students need to make sure they're doing right now and be thinking about. Make sure they're registered for classes, doing orientation, all those type of things. And then what are some of those key dates? When do classes start? What are some of the key dates that they need to know here in the fall? Karen?
You said it, Dave. I'm done. Just kidding. Yeah, so basically the process is once you've been admitted, once Dave and Kelly have lovingly escorted you through the gates, the next steps are kind of twofold depending on if you're a first-year student or a transfer student. But some order, you'll do advising and registration as well as orientation. For first-year students, that usually happens the same day, although it doesn't necessarily have to. It kind of depends on when you come in and sort of what your availability is for zooming into an orientation. Transfer students, it can be a two-step process that can also be the same time. So if you've already been advised, that's great. Then we might refer you on to the orientation office. If you've bumped into orientation first and then you haven't yet connected with my office, not a problem. These things can be done independently. They just, we suggest that they both should be done before you start classes. So hopefully, again, I'll put my email in the chat box. If you have any questions about those things, do not hesitate. That is literally why I'm here. As far as the next important dates, classes start August 17th. That is a Monday. We start on Mondays in the fall. We start on Tuesdays in the spring because of Martin Luther King Day. So just keep that in mind. And then the next important date after that is something called census date, which is kind of what it sounds like. That's where we take a snapshot of how many students are enrolled, which courses they're taking, a lot of other things that we use to report up to the government and some other things. And census date means it's kind of the last day to do anything easily. After that, things become a lot more complicated. So it's the last day to add, it's the last day to drop, it's the last day, you won't need this now, but eventually you'll need to know it. It's the last day to apply for graduation. It can be sometimes the last day to switch to pass-fail. It's sort of the main deadline for just about everything. Things can still be done after, it's just a lot more of a hassle. So try to get it all done by that census date. That is September 2 for the fall. That's the third Wednesday of the term. If you want really specified details on the major dates and deadlines, you can Google CU Denver Fall 20 Academic Calendar, and you'll get a nice little PDF in color that will give you everything there. So then you can tattoo that on your forehead, but small because you'll need one for every semester and that'll get really busy. I'm kidding. So again, welcome everybody, and do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Karen. Real quick, I know there were some questions about housing, so I wanted to give you a little bit of information from what I know with housing. So the main CU Denver owned housing is called Links Crossing now. If some of you in the past have heard Campus Village, it's the same place. They just changed their name. So now it's Links Crossing. And that is the CU Denver owned residence halls. My understanding is they are currently full. And the reason they are full is because they've moved from having 2 to 3 students per room like they would usually have to now having 1 student per room. So that takes, what would usually be like a facility that would hold close to 1,000 students down to a facility that now is holding about 500 students. Last I heard there was a wait list, but it wasn't too long. So if you're not currently registered for housing and want to live at Links Crossing, make sure you reach out right now and get on that wait list. So that hopefully a spot would open up for you. If you did not get on that, or you think you're not going to be able to get your spot called on the wait list or want some other options, there are a lot of other residential options right near campus. They are privately owned, so, you know, buyer beware. Make sure you're reviewing what you're signing and all that kind of stuff. But two right by campus are CoLab. It's a brand new one that is right across Colfax from campus. You know, really nice. It's only been open about a year, so a nice facility. And then there's one called the Auraria Student Lofts, which is right by the Denver Center for the Performing Arts, the top half of one of the big buildings downtown, where a lot of our students live as well. Those last two would both be a little bit more kind of an in-between, like residence hall and apartments. So they don't have a cafeteria. Students spend for themselves for food a little bit more. You would have a kitchenette in your room. So just a little bit different, but you know, different options for different people. There's another one called the Regency. It's a little bit further away. Usually they have a shuttle service that's taking students to campus a little bit, but another option in downtown Denver for student living. And then of course there's so many apartments, you know, downtown as well, but that would be more of a researching on your own and things like that. If you have any questions about housing, you can certainly direct them to me. And if I don't know, I can get you in contact with the housing office. So right now, oh, it looks like Alana said she's lived at Auraria Student Lofts. Do you want to share a little bit about that, Alana, or Erica too? If you've lived in any of those places, you can share your housing experiences.
Yeah, so I lived at the Auraria Student Lofts for my freshman year, and it was great. What I really loved about it is that I had my own bedroom, and because growing up with my sisters, I always had to share a room, so it was very nice to have my own. And you share a bathroom with one other person, and it's probably like a 7-minute walk to campus. It's super close. It's right in the heart of downtown, 14th and Curtis. You're right across the street from the Belco Theater, so you can go see performances all the time. It's a very safe area as well if you're concerned about safety. So I would definitely check those out. I'm not sure what the pricing is because I lived there about 4 years ago, but it's just Auraria Student Lofts. If you Google that, that should.
Great, thanks so much, Alana. And Erica, do you want to share a little about your experience at Links Crossing?
Yeah, sure. Kind of along the lines of what Alana said. I mean, for me, that was like a few years ago because I was a freshman, but it was a great experience. At first, I was like a little bit uneasy about, because I was there obviously when we were doing like 2 people in a room and then in a bedroom, and there's 2 bedrooms. So it was actually 4 people, including myself. And I, opposite of Alana, grew up an only child. So that was a brand new experience to me, but it was like actually a fantastic experience. The woman I shared a bedroom with is still one of my closest friends, actually. And she lives in LA now. She's like doing awesome like recording art stuff in LA. So, yeah, super worth it. You know, I don't know if the process is a little bit different now, but you like fill out a little roomy kind of application about like what's your major and like what are your interests, and just to kind of like get you matched with people who, you know, are just similar enough to you that you'll likely get along. I really liked it. It was like a really fun experience, even just to have like everybody would kind of gather in the little common areas outside, or there's like a little gazebo out there now. Just nice to be around people so often, like, especially now reflecting on that currently. So if you have the option to do that, either now or in the future, I definitely recommend trying it for at least a semester, if not a year. I don't know what their contracts are like currently, but I highly, highly recommend it. It was nerve-wracking at first, but really encouraged me to just meet different types of people than I think I would have normally been drawn to. So I definitely recommend dorms in general, but I really liked Links Crossing personally.
Great, thanks so much. And so I know someone here earlier had mentioned that they were looking for a roommate. So if anyone else is looking for a roommate, make sure you connect with the person who is looking for a roommate. If you are looking for a roommate, this would be a great spot to put your information, and maybe you can connect with another music student. Also, maybe this would be a good spot for you to put, if you're a student and you are living in Links Crossing, maybe write that in there so all the other students that are living there can kind of, maybe you all can connect, or wherever you're living, which would be good. So we have had a couple questions come in, and if you have more questions, make sure you put them in the chat. So one that we had was about, I know a lot of universities have said that after Thanksgiving, they would be all remote online. So students wouldn't have to come back to campus. Richard, have you heard CU Denver's plans as far as after Thanksgiving?
No, CU Denver and the CU system hasn't addressed that, so there's no news on that. I think we're going through the full semester so far.
Okay, thanks. So I guess we would encourage you to kind of keep an eye out for more communications about that, probably coming very soon. Go ahead, Richard.
And just to follow up on some of the chats, there's been questions about, will I have classes online or not? We'll be sending out messages via our social media platforms and other platforms, and faculty will be sending out emails specific to their class on what their status will be, if it will be an online class or if it will be a remote class, if it would be, on campus, et cetera, et cetera. So as soon as you get your UC Denver email, please check it on a regular basis. That's all the information will be sent there, not your personal emails, but the CU Denver email.
Great, good advice. Thank you. So look for more information soon on that. Let's see other questions. Okay, I've heard of roommate situations turning into bands at this school. That's Scott. Yes, that is absolutely correct. I hear of that as well.
No, I'm not making that one up. That has happened.
Yes, it does. Or just even not roommates. So that's one thing. Someone had mentioned that their student got matched with someone that's a medical student and not a music student for housing. Don't worry at all about that. You're going to meet a ton of students in your classes, other students in the residence halls other than your roommate. It's typically you're not, in your room a ton. So maybe you'll hit it off and maybe you'll be best friends with the medical student. You never know, right? Maybe they also play music. Who knows? Maybe there is a reason why they matched you together. You don't know. But I wouldn't worry too much about that. What often happens is students will start, in one of the residence halls their freshman year, and then they'll make friends with all the other music students in their classes and at the residence hall, and then they'll get an apartment together somewhere near campus or move to, the area student lofts or collab or something like that. So don't worry too much about that, who your roommate is your first year if you didn't get music student. Okay, other things here. Student organizations, lots of good info from Scott. I like it. How do I meet people if I'm living from my home in Denver as a freshman? Good question. So certainly your courses, no matter the format, they've all been designed for them to be very interactive. So whether it's on campus or, happening remotely, like through the Zoom type of setting, the instructors know that a big part of this in the music industry is the who you know piece. And that's why you start taking music classes your very first semester in our program. So they are going to make sure that there are like group assignments and there are times where you get to collaborate with your students, even if it is on Zoom, like it would be happening on campus. So you're certainly going to get to meet people in our music program and throughout CU Denver. Get involved in a student organization. That's a great way to meet more people. Come to your friends, in the program's band events. Usually there's so many concerts going on of student groups. And I've heard from a lot of our students, the biggest problem is 3 of their friends are having concerts on the same night. So they like have to choose one, right? Alana or Erica, do you want to elaborate a little bit on how you've been able to make friends in the program?
Yeah, I'm a very extroverted person, and that's kind of how actually I became friends with one of my bandmates. It kind of forced my friendship on her my first day. I saw for the singer-songwriter program specifically, they have a meeting at the beginning of the semester just to be able to meet everybody and be able to meet Owen and the other professors that are in that department. And you get to just meet all the other freshmen and you get to meet all the other upperclassmen as well. That's how I met my bandmate, and I sat next to her in my women's studies class, and now 4.5 years later, we're best friends. So I would definitely, like Erica and I have said in the chat, just talk to people in your class. If you see someone wearing a cool band t-shirt, compliment them, even if you're introverted and shy. Like, just try your best is the best advice that I can give you guys. Being an extrovert, I kind of just immediately go towards people. So
good advice. Eric, anything you want to share?
Yeah, I would definitely second that. I mean, I the kind of like what I said earlier, kind of coming back and forth, leaving school and coming back a couple of times was actually really helpful for me, because the first round of coming here, I was not as, I mean, I just wasn't as comfortable like talking to people, which is weird to reflect on now because I am so extroverted, but just meeting new people in such a new situation was actually kind of overwhelming. And the only thing that helped break that was to actually start those conversations and to like kind of allow people, if somebody did compliment my band t-shirt, like Alana said, or just like anything, kind of encouraging a conversation from there. And then the next time you see that person, like make an effort to say hi, even if it's just like, hey, Alana. And then they're like, oh, you know, and then like you kind of just start interacting more often, because I think most people want that, you know, especially in our industry. So, you know, people really, it was, at least for me, it was about like accepting that like what people are down to say hi. People are down to be friendly and like learn about you and like make friends and that kind of thing, especially in this program. So everything Alana said, like definitely. And what we kind of said in the chat, which, you know, what everybody's advice they've been putting in here, I think is all like super helpful stuff. Just get involved in organizations, like be involved in discussions in class. Like when you have those breakout rooms, like take advantage of it. You know, if you're doing even Zoom meetings and stuff, like it's really helpful to just connect with people who are, you know, your peers and your colleagues at some point.
Great, thank you. I see a lot of students are posting their social media links, Instagram links, all that on the chat, which is fantastic. Unfortunately, Zoom doesn't allow copy and paste. They need to get with it and allow that. So, you know, make sure take a screenshot, take a picture of those, or write them down or something, so that you can access them later and connect with all your fellow students. Maybe go to that, for those of you that are still on Facebook. I know that some of the students aren't on Facebook anymore and more on Instagram, but I posted earlier that MEIS community group. And I know Erica's on there often and posting some stuff about different MEIS events and things like that. But that would be a good one to join, and then you could post like your, you know, links to your songs or your Instagram. I'm an incoming music student, check me out here, whatever, on there. And then, you know, another way to connect with more of the current and incoming music students. And I also, for parents, we now have a College Arts and Media parent group. So make sure to also click on that link and join our parent Facebook group. There's not a ton of parents on it. We just started it like a week ago. So we have 10, I think, and we'll be growing that a lot. So I think that'll be a nice way for parents to kind of stay engaged throughout as well. And I saw, let's see, Abby said that she wasn't getting too much email yet at her CU Denver account. That's totally normal. Enjoy it now. Once classes start and the fall semester approaches, you're going to get plenty of email in your CU Denver account. And you'll certainly start getting, you know, the relevant updates that you need to about everything going on. Let's see, any last questions? I think we are at 5 o'clock now, just after. So let's see, one last question here. Is there a way to see the profiles of the drum teachers to pick one? I would email Todd Reed. He leads up our drum performance program, and I can type his email address in the chat for that one. Oh, there we go, Scott beat me to it. But always go, I would say, you know, like any of us, myself, CC, would be great people if you have questions like that, if you want to connect with a faculty member. Also on our website, we have a link to all of our MEIS faculty on the website. So that's a great way to go and see all of them. All right, so from here on, you know, this is the end of today's event. For most people, if the students stick around if you want, we're gonna stay on, and the students can connect with each other, turn on your cameras, say hi to each other, get to know each other, that kind of stuff. But for everyone else, thank you so much for coming. Hopefully this answered a lot of the questions that you have. I know not all the questions because things are still fluid and some decisions are still being made, and you'll get those answers soon. But hopefully this kind of gave you a good snapshot of where everything is at right now and puts you a little bit at ease for the fall semester and going forward in the program. So yeah, make sure to reach out by email if you do have any other questions. Richard, CC, anyone else have any last words?
No, just really look forward to meeting all of you, and certainly let us know if you need any help along the way. We're here for just that. So welcome to MEIS and CAM.
Absolutely. Someone had asked about recording this. We are recording it. We'll hopefully get that link. Sometimes Zoom's a little screwy with when you close off, getting that video link. So if we get it, we will email us, and we will, if you need it or want a copy of it, we'll get it to you. Hopefully we are able to get that. But we can certainly, of course, talk with you and get you all the same information that was presented here today. All right, so we'll say bye-bye to all of our, Alice, did you have anything?
Just if you guys, anyone who wants a recording, you can send an email to me. I am the person who sent you every communication regarding this chat. So just reply to any one of those emails and I will get you the link.
Wonderful. All right, so students that want to connect with other incoming students, stay on for a little bit and we will do that. Everyone else, thanks so much for coming.